I've been singing since Ming became the director, and it's really great to see him. I've worked with him in a lot of professional environment, and he's really good at bringing community together. So the fact that this is a non-audition chorus and he's brought the level of performance up so much in just the last few years is really exciting. And the fact that it's music for all. It doesn't have to be auditioned. You don't have to be a fantastic singer, but you have to be willing to learn, you have to be willing to work, and you have to be willing to study. And I think this is one of the hardest working choruses I've ever seen in my 10 years or so of being back singing, so it's pretty exciting.
Well, I think the question was, why do I keep coming back, or what do I love about working here? And I think it's a pretty simple answer. It's the people. I mean, it's obvious the answer, but one of the reasons I purposely come back to this gig over and over again when I'm offered it is, one, Ming, obviously, like you said, and the wonderful music making and the great repertory that he chooses. But also I've made a lot of friends outside the chorus, and hosts and stuff that I've stayed with that have been really kind and have treated me like a person as opposed to just the singer. And it brings me back, and it's really nice to be honored as a person. So that's one thing that draws me back a lot.
When I found out who the other soloists were, I said, yes, of course. And that's actually true. Because I know Eric Choate, who is the assistant conductor, and he and I went to conservatory together, and I only know him as a composer, but he said that this was a great group of people and a great chorus, and the level was top notch, and it really is. I mean, we just went through the first half of the Requiem, and I got goosebumps several times, and I just so excited. And I sung with Brian before in a Maryla, or in a San Francisco Opera Center collaboration with Philharmonia Baroque, and Carrie and I participated in the same summer festival, or the West Edge Opera's summer festival, and we weren't in the same opera, but I saw her perform and I fell in love. So I was so excited that I was going to get to work with both of them, and so here we are.
I discovered Britten's music when I was in grad school. I was looking for recital repertory, and I was very young and green, and I had found out that Britten had written for his partner, Piers, who was a tenor, and like a tenor of similar character to me. And so I started going through his music and sight reading it and looking at it, and I was just blown away. And Britten's not exactly the thing in the first reading you get blown away by. It seems really difficult and fussy and mind-bending. And then when you come to work on it and really get into it, it's one of those languages that just really either speaks to you or it doesn't. I mean, I think people are on one side of the street or the other. They love Britten or they run screaming. And I'm on the side that loves it. And his music really speaks to me and talks to me, like the poetry he chooses, the way he sets words, the colors that he uses, the harmonic language, how it's really challenging intellectually as well as emotionally as well as technically. So for a singer to kind of surmount all those challenges is, one of the most rewarding experiences you can have on stage. And of course, this piece takes all of those things to the absolute next level. It has all sorts of extended techniques in the singing. It has, just especially for the soloists, it has this really personal poetry that, I mean, you're not human if you don't weep by the time you get to let us sleep now. And just the harmonic language and how Britten's use of form is just absolutely, comes together at this point in his career. And all the self-quoting is really interesting for me when I hear a score. I'm like, oh, that was Albert Herring. Yes. That was... that was his second canonical, and for me, like, because I'm such a nerd, Britten nerd, but nerd in general, like, it pings for me, and I'm just really blown away by it.
What Brian said, first of all, yes, yes, and yes. The harmonic language of Britten is something, when you hear it, absolutely right that second it's Britten. There's no denying it. One of the most unique sounds possible, and the fact that he can put so many things together in this Requiem, when everything comes together in the end, it's so complex and yet completely harmonious with what exactly needs to happen in the story. And the fact that it's a war requiem, and sadly enough that subject never goes away. We have to keep bringing it up and keep, as artists, remaining steadfast in kind of being activists and being able to talk about these difficult subject matter with one step removed. And so to really dig into the work that he put into, again, the form and the harmonic language, And to sit back for me as the soprano soloist, this has been a dream of mine to sing, because it's unlike anything he wrote for soprano. It's, I don't sing the poetry, but I feel like I respond in a way outside of the moment. I feel like I'm watching these soldiers speak. I feel like I'm watching things happen and sort of being the overseer of hopefully peace one day. So it's sort of interesting coming at it from that point of view. And also I stand on my own little stage in the back, and so it's interesting physically. No, I didn't even think about it until I stood and was sort of physically watching you sing with the chamber orchestra and went, oh, this is, it even changed it shifted my perspective of how to sing the Lacrimosa, of how to really feel that intense weeping, and to hear the chorus finally understand that it was that accompaniment of weeping. And there's just nothing like it. I've never sung anything like it.
I did The Rape of Lucretia when I was in Maryland a few years ago, and it applies a lot to everything he wrote. I'm always discovering something new. It's like you were saying, it's kind of like a puzzle piece, and every instrument, every voice is a different puzzle piece that comes together amazingly when you gather it with orchestra, and especially in this, so many different puzzles that all fit together. But my favorite part is sitting there and listening and discovering, even while I'm singing. That to me is the genius of Britten. And you, like we were saying, the way he sets text, even the text itself, I'm always discovering something new every time I sing it, because he's a genius.
I mean, I don't know, Efraín, I may actually say the same part, but at the very end, right before the Let Us Sleep Now, there's I call it a duet because it's this poem, and the thing that people don't know about it is Britten actually took out lines from this poem, and you don't know quite what's happened. Britten treats this War Requiem actually as a drama, it's almost an opera. I mean, like, these are characters that are, facing off and interacting in a way that you just wouldn't know. And you have that moment where, it's called Strange Meeting, and it's this ethereal moment of looking somebody in the eyes and knowing that you have everything you've been working for and everything you thought you believed was true and that you have been fighting for means nothing. Like, you just see the person on the other side, and you've lost all these things, but what for? And it just tears your heart out. There's the moment where he says, none but save the undone years. And there's all sorts of I can't get into it, but that is absolutely my favorite part of all. I mean, musically it's really difficult too. Both of Efraín and I are both while we're singing it, but it's so rewarding because he takes these words and he matches the words note for note with the inflection of what they're supposed to be, and it becomes, that expression is so much more heightened. And the way my musical language is echoed in his piece, that there's this response to everything I have, and you see that they're actually the same person. They're probably both 18-year-old kids who got sucked into this. You find out they're, the same side of the coin. I don't know if that works out, but...
I definitely agree. I think, but for me, the magical moment is right after they make this discovery, and then I even think it's genius that the downbeat to Let Us to Sleep Now is silence, is nothing. It just, trying to wrap my brain around that is one of my favorite moments, because it also comes out of nowhere, and then this huge swell in the orchestra, everything all of a sudden starts coming together, and again the silences throughout that last movement to me are just as powerful as that first beat. That's my favorite moment.
I don't even sing in most of this moment, but it's mine also, because it's the moment where the realization that human is human. I don't have anything else to say. I mean, that how can to be able to express that in such an effective way is quite unbelievable. And every time I hear it, I'm in tears, because it's the crux of the piece. It's for me, the purpose of being an artist is to be able to say things like that are so powerful that we can't express with just words. And so Britten did it for us.